At the time of recording, the Fabian fusion has finished in the past couple of days, and we also just had the end of party or the after party event for his soul. I spent a lot of time, effort, and a little bit of money to pick up his 5-star soul as well. So, I have him 5-star awakened now. So I figured now is probably a good time to do the review and the showcase on this particular champion, show you how I have him built and all those sorts of good things. Now, I was just talking about this recently because I did have, I just recorded a video essentially where I was doing the ratings for a bunch of champions. He was one of the champions that I rated, so sadly, you can't see my ratings for him in this video, but you'll be able to see it in the next video when that goes live. So make sure to check that out. It's the part 2 to my rating my most used champions. This guy is absolutely fantastic, both in terms of looks as well as in terms of his kit. Armand's has been an absolute meta breaker, but I think Fabian is better than Armand's. That's controversial, I know. That's controversial. It is what it is. As always, I have a Discord linked in the description. Make sure to go ahead and hop in there if you want to have a conversation about the game. If you have, tips, tricks, or builds that you want to share, or just something you want to flex, right? Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at his kit. Service in death, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit steals 10% of the target's turn meter. Places a True Fear debuff for 2 turns if the target's turn meter is fully depleted. Fantastic, right? Great. A2 attacks 1 enemy. He's one of only, I think, 2 champions inside the game so far that can just straight up place petrification debuffs. The other one being He-Man's compadre. I forgot his name. Skeletor, I think. Places a petrification, has a 100% chance of placing a True Fear debuff for 2 turns on all other enemies who are not under fear or True Fear. Passive effect activates this skill whenever an enemy under a fear or True Fear debuff successfully uses a skill. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. This is insane. This is ridiculous, right? And it gets worse because when we look at his A3, you can really start to see the synergy. AoE. Before attacking, 100% chance of decreasing the duration of all enemy buffs by 3 turns. There's very few situations inside the entire game where a buff is going to be more than 3 turns on the enemy team. This also ignores polymorph, so it's not a strip, so you can't be polymorphed while doing this. And I believe it also gets around lightning cage as well. So this is insane. 100% chance of increasing the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 3 turns. This part is affinity based, so he can weak hit on the lockout, of course, which is problematic if you're going against, magic affinity champions. Grants an extra turn if there are no buffs on the enemy team after this attack. And again, this is not affinity. This is before attacking. Ally speed in all battles by 19%. With his A2, this is also affinity based, but it's almost guaranteed that he's going to be getting that extra turn as long as you have the accuracy to do so, and, provided you strip off that stone skin as well. This guy is ridiculously good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the relic. I have him built out inside Molten Death Bell. Wearer's turn meter increases by 10% when applying stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, petrification, and sheep. What does he do? Well, he's placing fears and true fears as well as petrification, so he has plenty of chances to increase his turn meter. This was the relic that I had on my Armands. But I went ahead and switched it over because my Armands is now looking pretty dilapidated now that I have Fabian. I think, honestly, it'd be really cool to see some skins for this guy, too. Plarium, if you're watching, give us some skins for Fabian. Make his hair, orange or red or black or white or any number of colors, right? Make his skin, a different color, too. That would be pretty cool. And just give us different variants of them so you can have a Goku looking Fabian. That'd be pretty awesome. In terms of masteries, I don't have him done yet. This is how it's looking, though. I'm thinking I'm going to build him out inside Eagle Eye. I do, of course, have Evil Eye for the synergy with his A1. The Retribution and Deterrence would be pretty strong as well, though you do have to be careful with those because if you're going against a Marius and he counterattacks the Marius, you can essentially just start to machine gun out Marius A1s, which would be a bit unfortunate. Obviously, having him inside, Bulwark is an option. Yeah, it's an option to help make the rest of your team a little bit more tanky as well, but I do think Eagle Eye is probably the way to go. Oppressor would be very strong as well, considering how many debuffs he's putting out. Let's go ahead and let's show you the gear here as well as the overall build. So these are the stats. We got 48k HP, 3000 defense, 359 on the speed. He is definitely a little bit slow. We have 356 on the accuracy. So the thing is that he does a very similar role to a few other champions on my account. So, for example, Crixie is doing basically the same thing as him, albeit she's built with resistance instead of accuracy. So she has, you know, some of my best speed gear. Let's see who else. So I also have Lamassu, who's just built inside some solid speed gear. So if I took gear off those champions, I could definitely get him faster. My fastest champion right now is like a 384, which is an Arbiter. So 359 is definitely serviceable, right? So this is the gear. In terms of the sets that we have a 3-piece Supersonic, Divine Speed, and then 2-piece Pinpoint. So ideally, if I could get like a 4-piece Supersonic or something like that on them, that would be pretty awesome. This is the weapon. This is the helmet. As you can see, the weapon was a very decent roll, but it's from an off set. So these certainly aren't min-maxed. Like, this is a 5-star chest plate, right, with a triple speed on it. So the shield, the gauntlets, and the chest plate could all give me massive speed increases if I had better gear for them. And then, of course, for the accessories, we don't really have anything too crazy. An amulet that just doesn't even have accuracy on it. Triple roll on a 5-star banner for the speed there. So there's definitely some stats left on the table. If you have better gear, you can build him better than I have, certainly. Let's go ahead. Let's run him in the arena and see what he is capable of. What is he really going to specialize in? Well, he's going to specialize in countering any sort of teams that are very strong on buffs, right? So if we go ahead and do, say, for example, this speed team, instead of Lydia, we're going to bring in my Fabian. And something that's very annoying is he shows all the way over here because I don't have him fully leveled up yet. But once he is, it's going to be pretty cool because we're going to have, obviously, a champion that is another 5-star sheep candidate. So we do have the fear placed on him, unfortunately, by the Taurus there. We got the increased cooldowns, which is perfect. We get the lockout there on the Taurus because I think Crixia missed it, if I seen right. Let's go ahead and just smack into the Odin here. We sheep him. He survives, unfortunately. The Taurus is going to be able to A1 and take somebody out, so I'm going to save my revive there. So he does hit Fabian. Fabian goes down, unfortunately. Now, though, once we get the res with Fabian and we start using his A2, you can really start to see how strong he is. And, of course, we can't get the res yet because of the Lydia, so we'll give it a few more moments here. We just got to rotate around. We got the block buffs up on them, which is quite nice. We're going to go ahead and we're going to reset here. Boom. There we go. Oh my god, I forgot about Arbiter's cooldown, so even though we decreased it by 3 turns, we're not even close to the res. We might lose this one, just based off of how tanky they are. It also depends on how quickly their Lydia cycles her turns, because she might cycle back around to being blocked out. Or to blocking out, I should say, rather. And we sit down anyway. So yeah, we go ahead, we lose that one. Let's try this a bit differently. So we're going to go against the same team. But since we have the lockout coming in from Crixia, I'm actually going to try the A2 on our Fabian so you can really see just how strong that is. So let's go ahead, get that increased attack. Hopefully the fear doesn't proc here. That'd be a bit of a shame if it did. He does remove it, actually. So that's a part of his passive I forgot to cover. So whenever an enemy is revived, place a True Fear debuff on that enemy for 2 turns. And then removes any stun, sleep, provoke, fear, true fear, or petrification debuffs from this champion before the start of their turn. I did forget to mention that. So let's go ahead. Let's attack the Taurus here. Place the petrification. We got the true fear on everybody else, which is pretty cool. We do polymorph the Lydia there too, which is kind of funny. And now you can really start to see how strong this is, because anytime somebody takes a turn, when they have a fear or true fear on them, he's essentially going to come in and say, hey, you shouldn't be taking your turn, screw you, and then counterattack with that A2 and just absolutely decimate them, right? So we're going to go ahead and steal some turn meter here from the Odin, I think, as well as do some decent damage. We're going to get the block buffs just to make sure that Odin can't place his block damage anywhere, because that'd be pretty annoying. We're going to go ahead and smack in here. There we go. So we just have the Taurus left now, and then we'll go ahead and take him out with our Fabian. So you can kind of see he did a decent job there. This is a fairly low player power account, though, so we'll go ahead and try something a little bit tougher. This team here might be interesting because we do, of course, have a high resistance champion in the way of Mithrala. I forgot her name there for a second, apparently, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead, see if we can't get those lockouts as well as the buff strip. That's perfect. So we're going to go ahead, and I think we're going to petrify the Mortu there. We're going to smack into the Mithrala. We do take her out, which is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and just try to get the decrease on the shield. It doesn't work, though. It's a high resistance Duchess, obviously. So we do get the lockouts there as well. It didn't look like we got it on the Duchess, so unfortunately she has a lot of resistance, and I don't have a whole lot of accuracy. So it is what it is. We'll go ahead. We'll just keep cycling through our turns here, though. No buff steals coming in for us, unfortunately. We'll get some turn meter steal there on the Mortu. He sits down as well, which is quite nice. We'll go ahead and do a reset here. She should be reviving right away. I don't think we got the lockout on her, but apparently she's just not reviving. I didn't see a lockout on her, but we'll go ahead and try to petrify the Brogni, which we don't, unfortunately. Slam into the Duchess, and there we go. Took out a bit of a tankier team there from a player power that's a little bit more around my level, which is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and try a team like this, maybe. I don't think we're going to win the speed race here. We'll try it. We'll try it. We do have a counter to the Warlord lockout as well, if needed. So, you know, even if we go second, there's a possibility. We do get a sheep on the Taurus off the start because he went ahead and tried to place a fear on our Fabian, which is insane. We did successfully lock everybody out as well, so we're going to go ahead and petrify the Arbiter, and then we're going to go ahead and just try to lock everybody else out here. And then boom, we'll go in on the Arbiter. We just have the Taurus left, who we can start to turn meter control, and he now has fears on him. There's not going to be much that he can do on his own, and you can really see how, like, just absolutely quickly the Fabian is cycling through his turns, right? Like, he's absolutely insane with it. He's cycling just as fast as my Crixia, who's actually supposed to be faster than him, which is kind of funny. Go ahead and get the Taurus to sit down as well. That's like the second time in a row that my Fabian has gotten the final kill. So let's go ahead and try something a little bit crazier here. We'll try against this guy who has some mythicals on his team, even though he's a 4 million player power account. I don't know if you could see that or not, but let's go ahead. Let's try this. Let's see what we can do. So we're probably going to want to bring in a little bit of a tankier team to deal with this. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll bring in perhaps Lady Noelle, right? So not her, we'll bring in her. And then instead of Crixia, we could bring in something like a Marius. Here's what we'll do. So we'll bring in, we'll bring in Marius because I want to be able to counter them when they're transforming and stuff. And then I think maybe we'll bring our Arbiter on top of that just to see if we can get in there with some speed. And let's see how this goes. Marius will be our DPS unit, obviously. If this doesn't work, I'll probably just switch out my Arbiter for a Freya, and that should do it quite easily. They're all pretty slow, though. Again, this is a 4 million player power account who's obviously just wailed out on the game, right? So, you know, got to be fair with your expectations here. We'll go ahead and just smack in with the A2, I think. Try to get some damage off there. We do have the counter attack, and then the sheep coming in, which is pretty insane. We didn't get the lockout there, I don't think, on the Nice. No, we didn't. So, boom. Nice is taken out, though, because of the Marius coming in. So, and boom. We also sit down the Galathier because he went to try and transform. And then we go ahead and take them out with the Fabian. So let me just move myself here real quick. This player is insane. Captain Bubby, 4.31 million player power. 38 on the Forge Pass. He's wailed out for obviously the border and the Queen of Hearts and all that sort of stuff. Nothing wrong with spending in the game, guys. It means that the servers can stay on and I can continue playing the game as a low spend player. So I'm certainly not too worried about that. It's just always funny. I can't really talk too much smack about people spending money on the game, though, because I've definitely started to spend more recently myself, so it is what it is. We have the Arbiter coming in there with the turn meter boost. We should have the lockout on basically everybody here. The buffs stay up, though, which means that we unfortunately don't get any sort of, extra turn there. We do hit a little hard as well into the Marius there. We're going to go ahead. We're going to try to petrify the Odin, which is perfect. We do that. We're going to get the increased speed on everybody here. Let's go ahead and try to just push back some turn meter on the Necrit, maybe. I don't want him taking turns. Let's go ahead and do the extra turn on Marius. And he gets polymorph because he tried to stun the Odin, who does have Sheep, unfortunately, at a 5-star level. Let's go ahead and get a block buffs on the Pythion. Go ahead and try to turn meter push back on the Pythion as well, which we do get, fortunately. We'll just keep turn meter pushing back on the Georgid there, too, with our... And there we go. We do get the petrification on the A2. As you can see, this guy is absolutely insane. We'll get the buff strip there as well. Very, very strong because obviously he's removing buffs before attacking. So I think it was the... oh god, I can't remember his name. I think it was the Odin that had the block damage on him, but our Fabian was able to go ahead and remove that and just get some good stuff done. So now we just have to basically keep cycling turns here. Should be pretty easy. Keep stealing turn meter from the Georgia because I don't want Georgia getting a turn because he can go in with his A3 and then wrap around with his A2 and probably take out my entire team. So we do get the block buffs there, which is pretty strong, so nothing's going to be coming in from the Necrit. I cannot talk today, apparently, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just keep cycling here. Very, very strong team composition. We'll get the petrification on him as well. Why not? There's nothing Georgia's going to do against this. And then we have Marius coming in with his A1 to finish the job. Unfortunately, Fabian doesn't get the killing blow there, but it is what it is. If you're curious, that player power is at 24 million, so he's a solid like 6 million above my player power. So we will take it. This guy, 7.6. We'll go ahead and hit a refresh here, see if there's some tougher teams that we can take on. This guy's at a 6.5 million player power, but he has some 6-star and 5-star Awakened Mythicals, so we'll go ahead and see what we can do against this team here. Marius is very good against mythical champions. Shocker, I know, right? But running him in team compositions like this is a lot of fun. We do go ahead and get the extra turn there as well. We'll go ahead and petrify the Garrow. Will freeze everybody else. Just so much control coming in from this team that there's not really much you can do. They don't have a revive either, so now they're pretty much just going to be sitting down no matter what. We'll steal some turn meter from the Mikage. We'll get an increased speed going up here as well. We get the extra turn, stun the Garrow, do the A1. We now have an Enfeeble on the Mikage. There's not much she's going to be able to do. Garrow's still stunned, which is pretty strong. Go ahead and see if we can kill the Garrow. We do. And then boom, we get Noelle coming in for the final hit there. Let's go down to the bottom here, see if we have some harder teams to fight. 9.8, 12.4, 10.3. These all seem to be pretty low player power accounts. I really like this clan logo, by the way. I'll go ahead and move myself again, but the little like Pokeball there that they got going on. So Rallos Zek, that's pretty cool. 5.7. Go ahead and hit a refresh again. Try maybe one more fight against a tougher team here. This certainly looks like a tougher team. So Nina is... Or no, that's not Nina. It's a different player. I don't even know... Oh, it scrolled me back to the top. There we go. It is Nina. 35 million player power. A bunch of mythicals present on this account. Let's see what we can make happen. What I'm probably most worried about here actually is the Taurus A2, as well as the Siphi A1, as well as the Odin A2. So because of all that, I think a good logical pick is going to be UDK. I'm hoping that we're faster than the Warlord. We might not be. If we're not, we may have to essentially just cycle back and then come in with like a Crixia so that we can counter the lockout. We are... Oh. Okay, so the AI is not set up on the Warlord because we probably would have lost this fight. That is unfortunate. I won't lie. That is very unfortunate. Let's go ahead and try to get a petrification maybe somewhere here. We'll go in with the A2 of the Marius, though. Everybody's just smacking into us, but it's whatever. You can see we're just eating a bunch of hits there. We'll try to get the petrification on the Warlord. There we go. We'll try to get a block buffs on him, which does work. Perfect. Our homeboy here is still locked out, so we do get a revive coming in there. But we do get the True Fear on him, which is pretty cool. We have an extra turn coming into another A2 smack here with the Marius. And now it is literally just the Taurus left, who shouldn't be able to do too much on his own. But We'll see, I suppose, if he's able to do any sort of crazy things. He does the A2, or A3 rather, but since he didn't have much damage there, we survived, and we're just going to go ahead and keep smacking into him here. He is a 6-star Awakened with Polymorph, which is a bit annoying. I'm very jealous of that. I wish I had the 6-star Awakening on my Taurus. Right now, I just picked up a 3-star Awakening for him in the shop last night, so definitely a bit of a harder account there to take on. As you can see, 35 million player power. Let me move my head so that you can see it. I'm not just making it up, I swear. This guy has a pretty decent account, certainly. So that being said, I think that's a damn good showcase of Fabian and just how absolutely incredible he is, even when he has a, all things considered, pretty mediocre build on him. So that being said, go ahead, hop into the Discord. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.